Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Welcome everyone to the Municipal Planning Commission for Wednesday, December the 7th. It is 5 p.m. and I will call the meeting to order. You've all seen the agenda. If we could have a motion accordingly or any additions. Member Nowichin?
Move to accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you. Anyone else? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Also before you were the minutes from our previous meeting on December the 16th. November. You bet. So if there was any items there, certainly bring them forward. Member Gullickson?
Thank you, Chair Creasy. I'll move the minutes as presented.
Thank you. No irregularities we need to deal with. Very good. All those in favor? Thanks, everyone. So before us today, a commercial school and accessory building application. That's such a mouthful, Senior Development Officer. I don't know, but SDO just doesn't sound right. The floor is yours, Beth. Hi there. Welcome, gentlemen. If you care to join us and have a seat, would be fine. Sure, you bet.
Good evening. How's everybody going?
Senior Development Officer,
Okay,
yes.
here we go.
That's please.
Thank you. So before you today is an application for a commercial school, which is the bylaw definition, but will be a flight school, and an accessory building, which will be a retrofitted mobile home for offices and classrooms to be located at the Lacombe Regional Airport. Our applicant has just arrived, so if there's anything not addressed in the report that you have questions about, then he will be able to answer some questions for you. So the property is the airport district, which is an area that provides the safe movement and storage of aircrafts, and also the facilities and uses related to aircraft and aircraft operations, which may promote appropriate economic development and must be compatible with the surrounding area. And administration is in support of the application. So what's before you today is the discretionary use. So both the accessory building and the commercial school are discretionary. We did send out 40 letters to neighbors within 60 meters. So the red properties on the map there are all the properties that received the letter about this application. We received 2 letters of support. One was from the Lacombe Flying Club president, John Fromm, and the other was a support of the application, but there were no actual comments provided. They just checked the support box. So what's proposed is the operation of a 14 by 60 mobile home, which will be retrofitted for classroom space, and it's going to be placed beside the Lacombe Flying Club hangar. So I did my best Photoshop there to kind of give you a visual. That is the Lacombe Flying Club hangar, and that is where the aircraft will be stored for the time being, with a lease between the applicant to this application and the Lacombe Flying Club. The proposal is to train both private and recreational pilots and commercial licenses. Approximate class size is 3 to 5 students. Monday to Friday are the main operating hours between 8 and 5 with occasional evenings and weekends. And so there are some part-time students that will do it on their own time and need that additional evening and weekend time to be able to complete their coursework and their flying training exercises. So in conversation with the applicant, he figures that it will increase airplane activity by about 10 flights per week. That doesn't mean that all of the flights are going to occur in Lacombe. It is air exercises around Sylvan Lake, Gull Lake, and other regional airports. So this gives the pilots an opportunity to land and take off from other airports other than just the Lacombe airport. So part of the proposal, again, is the retrofitted mobile home. So the applicant has a number of plans to purchase an older mobile home and then complete some extensive renovations on it so that it fits within the surrounding area and is compatible to the airport hangars that are on site. So some renovations include a peaked roof, new siding, new windows. There will be a front deck, which would be like an outdoor gathering area for the students and the instructors, complete gut and renovation of the interior, bathrooms, and new hot water tank. So quite an extensive amount of work that's going to go into retrofitting the mobile home, and it will be connected to water and sanitary services, which are available at the airport. So in regards to the discretionary use that you're reviewing today, essentially a discretionary use is something that may be allowed that when council adopted the bylaw, thought that it was generally acceptable use in that district, but does need due consideration. There might be factors which make it not reasonably compatible with neighboring properties. You may or may not approve the application with or without conditions, and the conditions may require a higher standard if it's deemed appropriate. So where something is a permitted use, we have to issue a permit. So they have an inherent right to a permit when it's permitted. When it's discretionary as the development authority, you don't have to issue the permit if there's reasonable grounds to refuse it. And so when considering a discretionary use, what we want to look at is the surrounding context and the suitability of the site and infrastructure which would support the proposed development. And so this gives us an overview of where the proposed retrofitted mobile home will be located. So as indicated, right beside the hangar. There are some minimal setback requirements in the bylaw in regards to placement of structures. So for example, the main one would be the distance from the taxiway, and it is going to exceed the bylaw requirement. There's a height requirement for buildings of 6 meters. The retrofitted mobile home will be about 4.27. And then a requirement for parking. So there is a shared gravel parking lot that will be used by the students as well as the classroom instructors that has well over 30 stalls in it. So there's no concern with the parking requirements. So when we're talking about the discretionary use, we do believe that the proposal does meet the general intent of the airport district by providing a compatible commercial use and promoting economic development by bringing students to the city of Lacombe. It would have minimal impact to the surrounding area and also complement the existing airport operations. As noted, it does meet the land use bylaw in regards to setbacks, height, and parking. And it will be an aesthetically pleasing structure once the applicant has completed the renovations on the exterior. There's also a couple of objectives within the MDP to support the application. One being examining opportunities for growth across the whole community, maximizing existing and proposed land and infrastructure capabilities, and identifying future growth patterns and directions for land within the city, ensuring the availability of land for current and future development needs. So it does maximize the use of the airport land and the existing infrastructure that's already there. And it brings an exciting learning opportunity to the city of Lacombe. And so for those reasons, we are in support of the application and recommend that MPC approve this development permit. The resolution is on the screen. There is a number of conditions listed in the permit package for consideration as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. The permitting package I did not look at. And that was they're in front of the photographs, was it? I guess.
It's about on the 5th page. Sorry, I
Thank you.
forgot to put the page numbers
Okay.
on the agenda.
So I did have a few questions with respect to the structure itself. For my purposes, quite frankly, it's irrelevant what happens on the interior to me. Whatever they do to suit their purposes, I'm fine with it. The description here, the renovation plan includes new peaked roof, So that's different than, I guess, first off, is the gable photo that's shown in our package the actual unit or just a unit? Nope, thanks. Just hang on for a minute. As a courtesy, we let you sit here, but questions will come your way when we deem it necessary. Okay, thank you.
Mayor Creasy, so I will, when comes the time for the applicant to speak, have him address that. There were a couple of different mobile homes that he was looking at purchasing, so I'm not sure which one he got settled on. I know he was looking at an older model in order to be able to retrofit it and then complete these extensive renovations. So I'm not sure if that one is the one that he ended up going with or if there was a different one.
Okay,
Yeah.
which is fair. I just, in the mock-up that you had suggested was done with Photoshop, it appeared to be a
yeah.
flat roof, and then this one's a peaked roof, and then in here it says peak, so I was a little confused there. So overall, I have no problem with it. When I look at the site plan, the first thing that I see on the entire site plan, and this is not as an overall development, we have zero landscaping along the street side of this entire airport, which seems odd to me. And I think we've kind of dropped the ball. I realize that on the first 8 or 10 units, they've been there for an awful long time and there's no room for it. I'm just wondering if it isn't in the community's best interest to include a modest amount, something on this area and as we head north. And then as I looked at another picture here, I see the chain link fence and whatnot, and I'm assuming that is the parking area that is to the west of the existing Flying Club hangar. Is that correct or no? Is? Okay.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't create some problems there, but I don't know. I just think that it would be nice for people utilizing that roadway to have some sort of visual barrier in there to help enhance the overall look of it. Because I mean, they're not, I mean, these are not, they're not particularly attractive buildings. They're utilitarian for the airport, which is fine. I just think that it would be nice if there was some allowance to have them without putting the proponent or the Flying Club itself to undue amounts of extra work.
I think that would have to be a discussion between the city of Lacombe and the Lacombe Flying Club, because if you're going to attach a condition to this particular application, it has to be this application which is making the impact to impose a higher standard. So if you're looking for landscaping, then the appropriate condition would be landscaping around the mobile home and not necessarily on the airport site as a whole. That would have to be a larger discussion because it is City of Lacombe land as well. So we could certainly have a condition around the mobile home and the decking. I'm not sure if the applicant would have plans for potted plants. I would imagine that trees are not desirable on the land of an airport. So that would have to have extensive research with the people who are knowledgeable in that area.
No, and that's a completely fair comment. And I think that there does need to be some discussion in it because I think that it is overdue. We're not going to suggest that they need tall trees, but something along that roadway because it is right next door to a residential area. And I would like to see us at least approach that subject and have a chat with between the city and the Flying Club.
Noted.
Thank you. Member Gullickson.
Thank you, Chair Creasy. That was my thought, that this, to me, that idea of landscaping along there would have to apply to all of the hangars if we start to impose it onto this one, correct? So I think that's a bigger question maybe for us in the airport. And I don't believe there's even space on the ones going to the south. Is the property line not within their boundary of their hangars? Is that not correct? I think there's encroachment on the south hangars, if I'm correct.
I am not certain on that.
They're really tight.
They probably
Yeah.
are, yeah.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of room there.
Yeah. If you're, as I said, if you're looking for a condition specific to this permit, then we could word a condition for you to put landscaping on the west side of the mobile home. Not necessarily along the street. Like I said, that would be a larger conversation because it would apply to the site as a whole, and how this application impacts landscaping is in regards to how it looks and its placement on the airport lands.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Member Kent's.
Thanks, Chair Creasy. I guess my question is on the mobile home. Why a mobile home instead of maybe a part of one of the hangars? I am not in support of a mobile home being added into the airport. There was one several years ago. It didn't turn out well. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but there was lots of trouble with that home in there. So I'm not in support of it. Why couldn't they add something into one of the hangars? Also, there, I would imagine, would be women and men in this school. Is there going to be provisions for unisex washrooms or just washrooms for men? I don't know. I'm just not in support of this mobile home being there as a commercial use application on this. The other thing is the size of the mobile home. Nowhere does it say the size of this mobile home, so it's kind of left wide open for us here.
So I will let the applicant, when it comes time, speak to your question, Member Kemp, in regards to the mobile home. Him and I did have a conversation about future plans, but I'd rather have him speak to that than me try and remember that full conversation. In regards to the interior, there will be a building permit, so it will have to comply to the washroom requirements under the National Building Code to do the retrofit and to place the mobile home on the property. So that will be taken care of under the building code. If a concern is in regards to the size, then we can, and we want it to be a specific size, we can write that into the resolution. It's mentioned in the report that it's 14 by 60, but it's not mentioned in the resolution. So if that was needed to be added, then we can certainly put that in. If we didn't want it to be any bigger than 14 by 60, then that can be put in.
Go ahead.
You keep talking about the future. I think the future's today. We're discussing it today, not things about the future. So I think everything should be brought up today for the future. Just the future, word future is being used a lot here today.
I guess the one other item I was just trying to recall from our tour out there, I believe it may have been on a different, it wasn't this body, but through a council or something, we had a look there, and the fueling station is somewhere close by, and I just wanted to make sure that that had been looked at and the proximity is okay.
It has, it is going to be, it's south, so you can't really see it. But it's between the existing Lacombe Flying Club hangar and the hangars on the south. It's kind of in the middle. So this proposed mobile home will be north of the fuel station, and that has been looked at.
Very good, thank you. So I'm assuming that you're both the proponents. We appreciate you joining us. There was some questions with the mobile home unit itself. Would you care to take the opportunity to elaborate?
Yes.
Can you hear me better now?
That's great, thanks.
Okay. Thank you for meeting us tonight and taking the time to look at the application for the idea of a flight school in Lacombe. It's something that kind of just fell on my lap about a month or two ago, the opportunity to purchase another airplane that came with a flight school operating certificate that an individual is currently using in Old Stidsbury. And then the idea of having one in Lacombe. I think Lacombe is a great area with the airport being close to the community. We're close to Edmonton. It's a nice, quiet little airport, which is, I think, ideal for a flight school. I currently own one airplane in Lacombe, and I keep it in the flying club there. So that talking to the airport manager, he kind of supported the idea of the location and the mobile home idea. I was looking at it like an ACO trailer that would be more of a commercial type trailer, but I think I can purchase a mobile and retrofit it at a lower cost. Ideally, down the road, if the school is successful, say in a 5-year plan, I would like to build a new facility, like a full hangar, and have everything all in one unit. But the investment on that side is close to 400 to 500,000. So it's a significant investment on my side that currently right now I don't have the means to meet. So by bringing in the mobile, it's one that'll be completely gutted out. We've looked at, talked to the fire authority, where between the two buildings, we're going to take all the windows out so that they meet the fire code between buildings. We will have 2 washrooms in there. It will have a male washroom and a female washroom. There'll be an office in the back for the chief flying instructor, which is Braden. And there'll be a briefing room. And then in the front part of the mobile will be the classroom area with a reception area as well. So the plan before moving it on site would have the exterior completely done. So it'll have all the windows cleaned up, new siding, the roof. This unit is different than the one I was originally looking at. It didn't have a peaked roof. So I found a nicer unit. But the plan is still to renovate the whole thing from top to bottom.
Great, thank you. Any additional questions or concerns? Member Gullickson?
Thank you, Chair Creasy. I'd just like to say that I'm very excited about this project. I'm on the board for with the Flying Club. I represent the city council on that. And I know we're excited about expansion at our airport. And I think this will start that and facilitate it a little more. So I'm very excited about a Flying Club moving there. And I think what you've discussed as far as your retrofitting the mobile home, that was a concern of mine also. You've addressed all my concerns, so I'm very happy to see this coming our direction.
Anyone else? Member Gullickson?
I'd like to make the motion then, if it's no other concerns, that the Municipal Planning Commission approves the application by Lee Davis for development permit for the discretionary use of a commercial school and accessory building as presented on December 7th, 2022 on land zoned AP Airport District located at 3910 63rd Avenue, legally described as Lot 1, Plan 7621329, subject to the conditions listed below, and there are 6 of them.
Thank you for that, Member Gullickson. Gentlemen, are you aware of the 6 conditions that do accompany this application?
No, I'm not. Is it part of the package?
Yes, it is. And also, Member Kentz, if there's any items that you feel would enhance the application for consideration of building size or some of the other items that you discussed on, certainly you have the opportunity to bring those forward as well.
I apologize. I have read over those as well, so I am familiar with them. Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
So there's been no addition there. And are there any of that are of concern to you? Are you able to comply with all of those?
No, I don't see any concern with those whatsoever. It's nice to have a list of things to check off to make sure that we're in compliance. So I'm in full support of it.
Very good. Anyone else? If not, then I will call the question. All those in favor? And those opposed? So noted. Thank you very much. So that application has been approved, and I expect that the Planning and Development Department will be in contact with you in relatively short order to make sure that all your paperwork is in order and as to future steps.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good luck. Thank you. And next up, item number 5. Summary of permits issued by a development officer and the development authority. Ms. Kirk, are there some items that you would like to go over?
I'm actually going to do it, Mayor Creasy.
Oh, okay.
So first of all, I just want to highlight that we've kind of changed up the summary a little bit than what you would normally see. We kind of reviewed it and thought, what is the most pertinent information to you? What do you want to know? So we've kind of just given a little brief summary instead of, saying we sent out this many letters and that we didn't get any. This is why we approved them, because we don't get any letters of opposition. So we thought it was more important for you to know why we approved the application versus saying we didn't get any opposition. So the first one was an 11% variance to the minimum front yard setback to an existing detached dwelling. And so we approved this one because it was an RPR compliance. So an existing structure that required an 11% variance. There was no circulation to the neighborhood required because it's under 15%, and we don't have to circulate as per the bylaw unless it's over 15%, which this was not. So this development permit was issued on November 18th and the RPR given a letter of compliance. The second one was for a discretionary use of a front addition to an existing detached dwelling. And so this was a discretionary use application because the site is zoned R4, and in the R4, detached dwellings are discretionary. Therefore, the addition to it is also discretionary. This was circulated to 60 meters with no opposition. And so the development permit was just approved and issued today. And that's it.
Thank you very much. I was going to say, your department is just so efficient. As I looked at the date, I thought, maybe there perhaps there's an error that says December 7th, but that is in fact when it's today. Very good. Wonderful. Thank you for those.
And so if you wanted to provide any feedback on the information that you want to receive on these, we thought it was more important to tell you why we have approved something without opposition than the information that was previously on here.
From my perspective, I like this. It says where it's at and the reasons why. I mean, I like the format. It's the first I've seen it as well. Anyone else? Good. There you go. It's about as positive feedback as you're going to get. Thank you. Yeah. And so the next MPC meeting, in case anybody is watching this online, will be on the 18th of January. The proposed date of January 4th has been eliminated at this point in time. So we'll make that adjustment to our calendars. And also in our notes here, I see that we've got a next MPC meeting slated for December 21st. And that is incorrect as well.
That's correct.
That can be eliminated too. So the next one is mid-January on the 18th, correct? Super. Anything else before we consider adjournment? Very good. All we need is a motion then.
Wants to do it, I'll do it. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it.